Hi everybody, so my name is Sarah and I am the head of Reader Services and Creative Programming. So with that I get to do and oversee all of our super fun crafty stuff that we have going on. And today you are here with us for our first what we're calling elevation sessions that we are hoping to keep doing with all of our take and makes. So giving you kind of an idea of how you can take the kit that we've given you and turn it into something that's maybe a little more personalized to you, or fits your, I don't know, aesthetic or vibe a little bit more and just kind of makes it unique for you. So the kit we are focusing on today is the Halloween Luminary. So if you've picked up a kit, you're going to have gotten a piece of vellum that's actually a little bit bigger than this piece, but we're just being cheap on that one. And you've got a cat silhouette. So the silhouette that you're going to have gotten is going to have potentially all kinds of different Halloween-y stuff on it because we decided to go with fun paper. And I'm going to take you through some different ideas on what we can do to kind of elevate or personalize our Halloween luminary. So the thing that I definitely wanted to start with looking at personalizing it was to do something with the vellum. So with the vellum, and I haven't actually glued mine on there, your instructions will have you attaching the vellum to the silhouette, and then you're gonna pull them together. And that's, you glue them together and then you glue it at the end. I didn't do that so I could pull the vellum in and out and you guys could see different examples. So that could be one thing. You could just keep switching out vellum or other paper or whatever you would want behind the silhouette to show some different ideas. So vellum is just kind of like a cool see-through-ish material. And so what I thought I would do to show some different things that you guys could do, especially with stuff that you may have at home, was to do something with coloring or adding color to the vellum. When you guys got the kit, you got your silhouette that's going to be the piece of paper that's been cut out, and you got a piece of vellum. And I took my vellum out just so I could show you guys some of the different effects that you might be able to have with vellum. So with vellum, it's just a really cool material because you can add to it, and you can actually print directly on it with the right kind of printer. Don't do it with the laser printer, you need inkjet, otherwise you might melt it. But I tested out, so I've got crayon, marker, and colored pencil on the vellum, and I kind of wanted to see how it might work doing the different colors. So you can see when I put this down in here, we're going to be able to look at it and see what the different materials do. So you can see that the marker, which is right in the front, has a little more color coming through it, and it adds just kind of a different element to it. And if I turn, you can see the crayon and colored pencil are actually pretty similar. So I did, when I kept working with the vellum and trying out other things, I kept using the crayon just because it colors faster than the colored pencil. But you can see that it adds just kind of like a nice element, and I just did kind of a little bit of an ombre that would be, you know, the orange up to the yellow, and just kind of testing out what that may or may not look like. So that was one of the things I did, was to color just directly on the vellum and just create a different effect. And so that was just doing solid colors. If you wanted to do something maybe with a little more of a design, I did this one as well, and this I combined markers and crayons actually. And I thought, like, well, maybe I'll do a little bit of grass, and because we've got that little bit of lip at the bottom, I went ahead and did a little bit extra tall grass. I might, if I was to do this again, might make it a little bit shorter so it wasn't so tall. And then I did, again, kind of an ombre thing in the background, using crayons to just kind of create some different colors there. And I thought, because it's Halloween, why not draw some bats on the vellum and see what that looks like. So I think you could draw a couple different things. When we were getting set up, I was joking, I kind of thought it'd be fun to actually draw some tombstones, but just because of the way that the luminary looks with like the cat and stuff, I didn't think I was gonna be able to have the tombstones and it not look kind of weird and like too much. So this is a look at it with doing that kind of ombre effect, but then you can also see like some of the bats are poking through. Now if I had really looked at where the bats were gonna come through, I might have placed them a little bit differently. So it's something that, I don't know, I guess you can kind of like play with a little bit. I did several different things. But you can see where the bats are coming through a little bit, and it just adds that kind of added extra effect by it not just being that straight vellum color. And And for this one, I thought I would see, because obviously purples and blacks and deep blues and stuff are the epitome kind of spooky colors. I mean, obviously I just need to add orange and then I'm extra Halloween. But I wanted to see what that looked like. And I didn't think after I did it that it necessarily looked great with the silhouette that I have. And since everybody's kit is gonna have a different kind of paper in it, I think with the darker paper doing it this way, like, it doesn't look bad, but I think having that higher contrast, so having something light with the dark paper would look better, just like taking something dark with the light silhouette might work better. So I actually grabbed, I grabbed a kit that has a lighter paper in it. And then you can see how it's coloring dark on the vellum is just gonna add kind of a different element to it. And what can be fun with this is if you didn't want to do, I mean, obviously I have a tea light in there, but if you didn't want to do a tea light and you just wanted this to be something that's just kind of around the house as just a nice added Halloween decoration, by doing something like this with the dark vellum and the lighter paper, you create that kind of contrast. So it has a cooler look to it than just having like the white paper with it. And that was just something that I thought would be good. So you can see here, like without the light on it, it's just got a different kind of contrast because we've got, the silhouette is a light colored paper. Another thing that we can do is if you are not thinking you want to put any kind of light in it, and I think that if you're using the vellum and you want to do a light in it, you obviously need to use the vellum since it's got that see-through component to it. But the other thing, if you weren't going to do the vellum, that just makes it kind of a fun thing, is you could take just some paper. So I had some just patterned paper, and this isn't using the vellum, so maybe you have some extra paper at home or something else that you want to do that has just kind of like cool textures on it. You could actually put that down inside of the silhouette. And so again, you have just this like nice decoration that you can put up for Halloween, and maybe this goes around like a glass and you have flowers coming out of it or something like that. But then you don't have that vellum, so you don't have to have that illuminated effect. And you can see just, again, this creates kind of a different look to it. And you can really see with, this is fun, double-sided paper. If I switch the paper around, again, we get that white paper, kind of like the vellum, so it creates a really strong contrast. And I have always really liked strong contrast and really just kind of like that bold black and white look. So the other thing that you could do when you're doing this is, before you put it together, because it would be really hard to draw on a circular piece of paper, is you could actually do some different stuff by adding elements to the actual paper. So because it's patterned paper, this can be a little bit of a challenge and maybe look a little bit differently. But on this one, I actually took some silver and I added little highlights to the letters. And I also drew like whiskers on the cats. But this is something too where I think that, especially if you're using, depending on the paper you got, if you've got that lighter colored paper, you could potentially even just take an orange marker and like color over the pumpkin. And again, an orange marker isn't gonna completely black out the texture of the pumpkin and like the words and stuff that's there. It's just gonna, again, add just kind of a different little bit of an effect that can personalize it just a little bit more for you. So with that one, I added the silver on there, and it doesn't look bad. I think it would look, depending on the pattern of paper you're using, it's gonna look different. I was hoping that the silver, having something a little bit glittery, would kind of pick up on the luminary, and it didn't do it as much as I wanted it to, but it still looks nice. And then it, again, when you don't have that luminary, because maybe you're not having a battery operated thing, just eat all of the batteries, it adds that added touch to it without the candle in it, where you can see just, you know, again, all I did was I added just a little bit of highlight onto the cats, and I did a little bit on the letters, and I did whiskers. So that can be another way that you can just kind of personalize it and make it just for you. And the last idea I had for personalizing was kind of looking at different options that you could do for the lighting. And I'll pull out another one. I pulled out a couple different samples of stuff. So the light that I have been using is just I feel like we got these off of Amazon. They're not very expensive, just battery operated little tea light. What's kind of cool about this tea light specifically is that it's got kind of a natural flame to it, so it flickers a little bit, so it mimics a real candle, which I kind of like that it has that real effect without, you know, setting paper on fire. Probably not a good move. So you can see, especially once I put in the vellum, that it's just got a little bit of flickering. And I'm going to actually go ahead and have my camera person shut out the lights so you guys can really see some of the different light effects and the cool stuff you can do with different light options. And here comes the darkness. All right, so you can see, especially in this one, like now with the lights off, how that little tea light is truly kind of mimicking flame, which I think is just kind of a cool effect. So another thing you could do lighting-wise, and I got this, I am that person that can't be trusted in Target because I walk down, especially that entry aisle where you can get everything for super cheap and it's evil. They had these lights a couple weeks ago, and I think they've got them back in the Halloween section now. But it's just like a little strand of Christmas lights, and it looks kind of like Christmas lights. It doesn't really have the bulbs. They're going to be LED, but they're run off of a battery, and they have colors. So I thought this was really cool using a purple light because, again, it just kind of adds to the Halloween effect. They do sell these where you're going to have the little bulbs, and they're going to be white. And the cool thing you could do with the white ones is you could actually take markers over them, and then you can make kind of like a multicolor effect. But I didn't have white ones to play with to show you guys that. But I know it's something that you can do. And then the last light source I'm going to show you, which when we turn the lights back on, I'll show you it after that too, because they're also just kind of cool. I have a lot of Halloween nonsense in my house. And these are going to actually be lights that are, again, battery operated like the purple ones, but they're also bats. And if I can get them in there. Sometimes that wiring, man, just makes it hard to like get the lights down in. So with this, it's a little harder to see, but if I did a better job of really kind of pulling the bats out, they kind of create a little bit of a bat silhouette, which again, just kind of adds another fun, unique element to it to have different like little shaped lights that are creating a shadow within the luminary. And so I'll have my lights back up. And you can see this is just another battery operated set of lights, but it's got little bats on it because I think bats are cute. I have a bunch of these. I have skulls, and I just thought the bats would be the cutest ones. And since you guys couldn't see it with the lights off, this is just what the purple lights look like. So again, super easy, just uses AA batteries. And so those were 3 different light sources that you could potentially use that all give it just kind of a different little bit of an effect. And that is the different ideas I had for personalizing your Halloween luminary. And we will look forward to seeing you guys for our next elevation session where we are planning to show you some different ways to personalize a haunted house. And yeah, thanks.